For joining us on your channel of choice at this time, Africa Independent Television, AIT. Welcome to Focus Nigeria, your program that puts the searchlight on topical issues in the polity. My name is Benga. I'm really glad to be here this morning. After 6 weeks of closure for massive repair works, both on the runway and the terminal building, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, reopened on Tuesday, 2 days to the deadline given by the Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, for the completion of the job. So much was the controversy and the opposition that preceded the federal government's decision to shut down the Abuja airport for the massive renovation and repair works, and then the upscaling of facilities at the Kaduna airport designated as alternative airport. Several times, Hadi Sirika was summoned to the National Assembly at the behest of different interests and forces who were opposed to the closure of the Abuja airport. But the authorities stuck to the original plan that nothing short of a total closure was required for the type of job to be done and for the job to be done properly as well. And at a point, the question became whether the 6 weeks closure being proposed by the aviation authorities was not just a ploy. And of course, the Minister of State had to put his job on the line. After 6 weeks, if it's not ready, I will resign. But 2 days short of that 6 weeks, the airport is ready for use once again.
Closure of runway is not new. It's been done daily. I've read on Twitter, I've read on Facebook, I've received emails, text messages, visitations to my house and my office, and that is done all over the world without closure of runway. Yes, even in Nigeria, we don't have to close runway to do certain kind of maintenance work or repair. It's just that this is different. Your Excellency, the country, Nigeria, had experienced a closure of runway, and for 2.5 years. And that runway is as critical, as important to the economy of Nigeria as that of Abuja. That is the Port Harcourt runway. And what is different, Your Excellency, is that that runway failed.
April 19th was the due date for us to conclude and open the airport based on our program of work. And then that is not saying that we cannot open earlier. We were able to deliver the project earlier than anticipated, and then we can open it. There is nothing wrong with opening it a day earlier. And here we are today. We set out to achieve that target. We achieved the target. We thank Allah for His benevolence, and we also are happy and thank His Excellency Mr. President for the support, the guidance, the leadership. And I also wish to thank my colleagues who did it all, and all of you, the media and the Nigerian people, for bearing with us during the time. We just landed now on the same runway. The final exercise was this morning. The friction test was carried out, and they found that it meets the international standard and the ICAO standard and recommended practices.
And still talking about the airport, the Ethiopian Airlines became the first flight to land at the refurbished Abuja airport yesterday. Indeed, it was a deserved honor for the airline, which demonstrated the spirit of African brotherhood by being the only foreign airline that agreed to use the Kaduna airport as alternative to Abuja during the closure. Not only that, the airline flew its brand new Airbus A350, the brand new jumbo airliner, to the Kaduna airport to flag off the use of that airport as alternative to Abuja. The flight from Addis Ababa yesterday had taken off with the intention of actually landing at Kaduna, but was rerouted and given the honor to be the first to land at the rehabilitated Abuja airport to flag off its reopening once again.
Like I said, it was as normal as can be. It was very good. I would like to commend the Nigerian Civil Aviation. I think they did a great job. It was a very good runway.
Oh, fantastic, because it's quite an experience going through Kaduna, all the rigors going to Kaduna and then coming back to Abuja. But now, thank God, we are back to Abuja. You can now come immediately and proceed to our offices.
This morning when I observed the screen, it was via Kaduna, and suddenly it changed to Abuja. So I was quite happy to observe that I'm coming straight to Abuja. And on landing, I also observed a number of people taking pictures and said, what's happening? Suddenly I realized that we are the first flight to land after the renovation.
The landing was very smooth. Even the aircraft that is Airbus 350 is one of the newest aircraft in the Ethiopian flying fleet. So the landing was very smooth, and we really like the way those fire tenders, they welcomed us.
I'm very happy that our minister has spoken and he's a man of his word. That makes me happy. And then you are here for yourself to see that everything from beginning to the end has been perfect.
And for those who are saying there's nothing to celebrate in all of this, sorry. For once, the Abuja airport saga has demonstrated that we can, when I say we, I mean Nigerians, we can actually get it right if we set our minds to it. There's nothing un-Nigerian in the feat recorded by the Nigerian aviation authorities. It's not the exception to the rule. Indeed, what has happened here is the triumph of the true Nigerian spirit. You know, the unput-downable spirit in us as individuals and as a people. I mean, that spirit comes to the fore whenever we are challenged to excel. Now, how about letting this spirit flow through all of our national life, individually and collectively? Anyway, our discussion is up next. The dominant issue, of course, in the polity remains the Ikoyi Towers recovered money. By now, you should know the basic facts. I'm not talking about the conjectures, the permutations, the theories, backed by Photoshops here and there, Photoshop pictures here and there on social media. Rather, I'm talking about the real hard facts, which is that monies were recovered in an apartment in a luxury building in Osborne Road, yes, actually called Osborne Towers. And it's not the first, it's about the fourth or so in a span of about 3 weeks. Dr. Otive Igbuzor is a development expert. He'll be joining me shortly for the conversation today. We'll be appraising the anti-corruption drive with a view to making suggestions on how to strengthen it, not how to pull it down. We'll be right back after this short break.
The president reaffirming his commitment to fighting corruption. It Matters Arising, a program where we take deep issues, art issues emanating from the polity, be it politics, economy, lifestyle, or other aspects of the economy. We give you behind the news analysis of them. Thanks for joining us, Amechi Anapue. You're on to AIT.
Okay, if you're just joining us, a very warm welcome to you. Let's start this morning's conversation now. And as usual, it's always about Nigeria. My guest this morning is Dr. Otive Igbuzor. Dr. Otive Igbuzor is Executive Director, African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, Center LSD. Dr. Otive, good to see you.
Thank you very much, Benga.
All right, let's start from this general premises. Who owns these monies? First, it was 48 million naira abandoned at the Kaduna airport. The date, the EFCC has not told us whether they eventually found the owners. There came the news of another 448 million naira abandoned in or found abandoned in a bureau de change shop. Despite the fact that there was the initial report had it that the money belonged to a politician. That politician to today has no name, has no face. Then came another 250 million naira found at the market, Balogun market. No owner yet too, except that just a couple of days ago we heard that when a woman, a trader, a tomato trader, is laying claims to the money, 250 million naira. And then, of course, the mother of all the recoveries, the one that happened last Wednesday, $38.8 million in cash, 23 million naira in cash, 27,800 pounds, all in cash. Found at an apartment. And in Nigeria, it's going to a week after, we are yet to know the true identity of the owner of the apartment. It's a rented apartment. At least the landlord should know who rented the apartment from it, or if it's a company, or from him if it's a person. All of these are just making it to look like a case of the more you look, the less you see.
Yeah, thank you very much, Benga. You are right that within the last few weeks in Nigeria, we've seen that money can develop legs and walk on its own to airport. And money appear in places and people are refusing to own up. And the authorities are also finding it difficult to be specific on who owns those monies. I think that on reflection, it's not unexpected that things like this will happen. Because, you know, and I'm always happy when I reflect back. I think that at some point, even stations like AIT should go back to what we have been saying over the years about the degeneration that we're having in society, about the level of corruption, about how values are flying from the window, about how the society is changing in our very eyes, and about how the judicial system, what, even though you are not a lawyer, what you used to know about it is changing, and about how an official makes a statement and you want to say, is it true? You know? And about you hear something from media houses and you say, let me wait, whether I can corroborate it from other places. About how you read something from the social media and you say, until I hear it from conventional media, I will not be the one who will spread this kind of rumor. So society as a whole has been degenerating over the years. If you look at it from the 4 key sectors in society, politicians, or the public sector generally, we saw in this country how the leadership selection process, right from the military era, where what makes you become a leader is because you know a military officer. And how they propped a new generation of leaders. And how, at a point, you can be excluded from contesting election on security reasons without explanation. About how people of low esteem and low value from the villages became automatic leaders and representatives of our people in Abuja. About how people who are honest retire to the village and they are haunted to death because they brought nothing back. And about how thieves who came back to the village are given chieftaincy titles. Or do you want to go to the private sector? About how over the years, you know, most of the medium-scale businesses you see today, Emzor Pharmaceuticals, Joel Pharmaceuticals, they were set up in the 1980s. That people came to realize that you don't need to produce anything to make money. About how the media, the third sector, which used to be the conscience of the people, became part of parcel of the corruption. Whether grand corruption or petty corruption. You know, I read in some newspapers and in some sites that there are media houses that have not paid their workers for 12 months or 18 months. You know, Nigeria is a funny place. These media people, they speak about other issues, but all of them, shurum. Or you go to the civil society, and you see money that Nigeria even borrowed from other countries, or I mean, got from other countries as grant. They are paying back now. So what am I trying to say? Is that all of these things we are seeing is not new. It's not unexpected in a society where corruption. In fact, I've always argued that there are two sets of people in Nigeria who will not engage in corruption. One set, they want to go to heaven, and they think that corruption may prevent them from going to heaven. And the second set, you know, they've built all their life and career on their name and integrity. And they will not want to destroy it. Otherwise, tell me, why will not somebody not engage in either petty corruption or grand corruption? You work in a place for 12 years, you are not paid. How will you eat? So, but I think that what is happening is a beautiful thing, because it's going to reset society. The beauty of it is that the president has set the tone at the top. You see today, you know a time reached, Benga, in this country, that if you go to some, you know, some people like us, God has blessed us that we relate with people at the lowest level and we relate with people at the highest level. If you go to some places and you have not stolen, they make you look small. They make you look as if you are idiotic. They make you look as if, you know, all the hard work you are doing, what have you got to show for you? They splash it on your face. But today, if you have stolen money, you hide it. Even if it is only that, that is a major gain. And it will take time. I think that's the point.
You said this, what is happening is what we need to retune the system.
Yes.
Can that happen automatically if we don't do certain things, capitalizing on the momentum of the events of now?
I agree with you completely. It can't happen. In fact, I think that the entire anti-corruption movement and fight has a lot of loopholes.
Okay.
Over the years, I've always argued, you know, that there is too much emphasis on one aspect of the anti-corruption fight, that is sanction. there are three main areas that you need to address in any corrupt society.
Okay.
Sanction, system, and society. If you give me time, we'll talk a little bit on both of the three of them.
Okay, you already started with sanction. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the sanction.
Sanction.
Yeah, that you said this is what all the attention
Yes.
over time had been on.
Yes.
Sanction as in punishment.
Punishment, law enforcement. When people think about fighting corruption in Nigeria, it's about law enforcement, it's arresting people who have stolen, putting them in jail, recovering, and recently recovering loot. And if you look at this whistleblowers policy, is even though the policy itself is wider than just pointing at those who have money, but the focus has been on those who have stolen money. So there's a lot of emphasis on sanction. But you see, in any society, there must be deviance. So sanction is meant to serve as a deterrent. The other two aspects, to me, are more important. First, system. You need to put in place a system that will make corruptible transactions difficult, if not impossible. There is a scholar called Robert Klitgard who gave what we call the corruption formula. And he said corruption is equal to monopoly plus discretion minus accountability minus transparency minus integrity. So anywhere in the world where you have monopoly and discretion, if they say today, Benga, we need 10 staff in AIT, you bring the 10 staff. No, nobody will ask you where are these 10 staff coming from. There is no procedure. There is nothing whatsoever. The number of your brothers and sisters you will put will depend on how good at heart you are. Some people will put only 2 of their brothers and you only want 8 as merit. Some people will put 10 of their brothers. But if there are systems, mechanisms of interview that is not dependent only on you, your brothers may come for the interview and they will not be. So everywhere in the world, you must put system and mechanism in place. In the UK, there is a pot of fund that parliamentarians, when you go out, you make expenses, you come, you make claim. And they were making claims. You go to a bar, a meeting with a constituents, you come, you bring the receipt, you make claim. And for many years, nobody checked the account. I'm sure you remember the story. Once they went to check the account and discovered that people were making claims with their girlfriend's receipt. And that side is not like here, where a public officer, our public officers, we don't know.
Permitted to have girlfriends.
Yes, they are permitted to have girlfriends. We don't know how many wives they have. We don't know how many children they have. And I think, that is part of the problem we have, even with this anti-corruption thing. In every society, there is a kind of ethics that follows some situations. There is ethics and code of conduct that followed the slave-owning era. There is kind of ethics that follow the feudal era. There is kind of ethics that follow the capitalist era and this kind of bourgeois democracy that we are practicing. In other climes, if you are an ordinary person, you can go to clubs where there are strippers. It doesn't make anything. If you become a member of parliament, you can continue to go to those clubs. They will leave you. But if you want to become leader of Labour or Conservative, they raise the bar. I'm sure you know the story. There was one Labour Party person who wanted to become a leader of the Labour Party in the UK. He's a Nigerian. And the moment he put himself forward, the security agencies, the media, everything, they put searchlight. And they discovered that he went to one club where there were strippers. They raised it. The guy withdrew. The moment he withdrew from the race, the security agencies, the media, they mellowed down. You can continue to be a parliamentarian, but you cannot be president. You cannot be prime minister. So, you know, system must be put in place. This is one of the few countries in the world where if I leave this studio now and I'm going home and I decide that I have some money in my pocket, that I'm going to drive on the opposite way, I will reach out.
Yeah.
You can't do that in many countries, no matter who you are, whether you are a celebrity. So even beyond this anti-corruption side, we need to look at road discipline. We need to look at order. You know, so systems and mechanisms are things that do such things. Then society. Society. What are the norms? How do we behave in Nigeria? What are the social norms? What makes somebody to say, look, let me collect my own, because other people, they collect? How do we react to somebody who is corrupt? You know, the values have collapsed completely. In those days, if they mention that your father is corrupt, you will change school.
To avoid that crowd.
To avoid the shame and the odium and the public opprobrium that will come with you. But today, if they say somebody is corrupt, all members of his ethnic group, we go and sow Ashebi in solidarity with him.
It's our son.
If you go to prison, we have many examples. The day you are released from prison, Thanksgiving service and chieftaincy title is waiting for you. So what are you? So it doesn't make sense. And it's also...
And it has pervaded everywhere.
Everywhere.
The story of, I was reading the story of Reverend King yesterday. The Lagos State government planning to confirm the death, the execution and all of that. And I remember just a couple of weeks ago, his birthday. In one particular newspaper, I counted, is it 19 or 21 full-page adverts? 19 or 21 full-page adverts in one newspaper alone, put up in his honor for his birthday, for somebody who has gone through all the processes of trial and at every stage found guilty of a grievous act of murder. Not them say, murder confirmed of a church member. And people are still celebrating him. And I wonder, what kind of a society is this?
In this society, we have heard of people who publicly shot others. You know, at one time during the crisis in Ibadan, people were alleged to have shot people publicly. And they are still moving around. So what I'm trying to say is that, see, this fight, like you said, is an opportunity. The whistleblowers policy that has brought this money is an opportunity. And you know, if you look at the history of society, changes take place, fundamental changes take place in times of crisis, monumental crisis. And we are in the time of crisis today. Economic crisis, social crisis, and political crisis. But in order to have the maximum benefit from what is happening, the anti-corruption will need to be systematic and strategic, and in a number of ways. First, and I'm happy that this week they are going to harmonize the various strategies, national strategies that are going on for the anti-corruption fight.
They're harmonizing it?
Yes.
I thought they already have one.
No, there are 3 strategies already.
The National Policy Initiative, which was launched in December.
No, there are 3 policies which are being harmonized this week. There's one produced by PACAC, there's one produced by Ministry of Justice, and there's one produced by TUGA. It's being harmonized. That is key.
Who's TUGA?
TUGA is is located within NIETI, which coordinates all the inter agencies that are working against corruption in the country. So you must have a strategy, and you work towards implementation of the strategy. Secondly, the fight must be comprehensive. So we must go beyond this whistleblower policy.
That's what you meant by the currents are here now.
Yes.
But we need to redirect the current to the right places. Let me take you back to the issue of sanction. It will not be that there are, that there's absence of sanction in our penal system, that corruption has continued to thrive and grow in leaps and bounds. It will not be for the absence of sanction.
No.
What would the problem then be? Because if the sanctions are there, then there has to be a problem why it is not working. Is it that the sanctions are not being applied, or the process of getting to that end product of sanction is not working well, and that's what we need to look at?
That's the point I'm making. For the sanctions to work properly, the systems and society must be in accord. Because if you look at even the sheer number of people who have been sanctioned, it's enormous. You look at the statistics, EFCC has convicted a lot of people. ICPC has convicted a lot of people. But it's not serving as deterrence.
Why?
Because the system and society are not in accord with the sanction. Many reasons. Okay, now, when one person gets sanctioned, the others are looking at, how do I prevent being sanctioned? If you look at many
or probably also say that our own is being victimized.
Yes, no, that is a lame.
Because it's also possible.
It's a lame.
Because if somebody has been tried for murder of a fellow church member or of his church member and is awaiting execution, and fellow church members are still celebrating that person, isn't that belief that, he's being victimized? Because that's what you derive from them.
No, that argument will always be there. And let's be clear, that argument will not go away.
And that it doesn't deserve the punishment it's getting.
Yes, that argument will not go away. You know why? Because the society, from their knowledge of what is going on, can see around them many corrupt people who nothing has happened to. And the issue about bias will always be there. In fact, what struck me was when the former president granted pardon to Alemisia. And I started studying pardon. And I was shocked. Even in the United States of America, presidents gave pardon to drug barons. There's a way in which society works that, human frailties cannot be removed completely. So the question of bias is there in every society. That when you are fighting corruption, there are some people, because you see, if you notice it, and it's going to, let's be really frank, it's going to be there for a long time in Nigeria. Because today, the leadership selection process that throws up leaders is such that it's laced with corruptible transactions. And before you are able to reach there, there will be some corruptible transactions along the road. And as humans, there are some people who may have participated in that process, which you cannot just ignore. But what many people do, many countries, leaders, when you are a leader, you now begin to take a decision. What is the tolerable level? And at certain points, you sacrifice some people. That's what leaders do to become statesmen. You get the point. So, but I think that what is happening today in Nigeria is a commendable exercise. That this thing, because if you look at it, in 1980, the percentage of poverty in Nigeria, Benga, was 28% in 1980. Today is 70%. Meanwhile, this is the time that we have had a lot of money coming into the country. Yeah, money was coming into the country, poverty was increasing. And you can explain that.
How?
The political economy of oil. Everywhere in the world, where countries depend on natural resources like oil, diamonds, and other extractive materials, there are characteristics that is unique to all of them. Number one, conflict. Two, illegal mining or illegal bunkering. And this illegal mining money is used to fuel conflict, war, lack of transparency and accountability, tax. Nigeria is one of the countries in the world with the lowest level of tax. I think FRS released the document recently, not up to 15 million people pay tax in the country. Because the oil, why? Because the oil money come, this rent, you just collect it and distribute.
And the guilty ones, the most guilty ones are the billionaires.
Are the rich. In this Abuja, there are houses that are completely built, empty for 5 years because no property tax. So you see that all of these things are explainable, but the beauty, and this is the argument I've made in the past few years, that for every problem confronting any society today, anywhere in the world, there are possible solutions. In Nigeria, you want to deal with corruption, handle sanction, system, and society. You want to deal with agriculture in Nigeria today, it has been shown that one of the greatest challenges is input. And 3 levels of input: fertilizers, crop protection products, and improved seeds. And then, of course, you deal with issues of post-harvest losses and access to market. You finish agriculture. You want to deal with education? It's question of quality of teachers, environment of learning, supply of teaching aids, and content of education. You deal with that. You want to deal with health, quality of personnel, access to health products, health education. Health education. By health education alone, in one of the projects, you can reduce a lot. So you know, but what health education do we see going on today? No. Look at a society.
When we were growing up, we used to see wole on the road, educating you on the need to keep a clean environment.
A society.
You know the number of diseases we eliminate.
Absolutely.
By just simply living a clean.
Washing your hand washing alone. Hand washing alone. Now, we live in a society where one of the greatest problems today is religious intolerance. What is the program to deal with it?
Nothing.
We are waiting for the next crisis.
Conflagration.
And how to deal with religious intolerance is clear. How do you promote religious harmony? How do you make sure both people understand each other? How do you promote the teaching, the knowledge? How do you ensure those who teach are well grounded? But we are looking. So the point is that these anti-corruption things, these money that have been discovered, and that is why we are talking about it today. And I'm sure people are learning, people are listening, people are seeing. And, you know, we've reached a time of crisis in this country. I've always argued that when 2 conditions are present in any society, change is inevitable. That is, objective conditions and subjective conditions.
A lot of people have said that all of these monies that are being discovered are not real. The EFCC is just police stunts, state managing all of these and all of that, particularly because of the predicament the EFCC chairman nominee has found himself, that is the one pulling all of this stuff.
So where is he getting money from?
Perhaps that's the question those who are proposing that have also not averted their mind.
Where is he getting the money from? You know, it's really unfortunate.
And how did he smuggle the money to
yes.
that apartment in the Koyi?
It's very unfortunate.
Do you believe that these recoveries are real?
I think so. I think they are real. We may not.
Why is it then difficult?
We may not
why
know.
is it then difficult to at least make one arrest in all of these 5 instances now? In all of these instances, apart from the airport, the Kaduna airport one, where the EFCC said the money was abandoned, it wasn't the work of a whistleblower. All the other ones have been as a result of the activities of a policy of the government arising, which is a component of the anti-corruption strategy, the whistleblower policy. If you are blowing whistle, are there certain ways to blow that whistle? What I mean is that if I have information on a particular person keeping money somewhere, and there are certain facts that I would have given to the security agencies, in this case the EFCC, for them to build on, to be able to, make arrests, either on the spot or subsequently after locating that.
Your question has certain underlying assumptions. That every whistleblower is also an investigator.
A trained
investigator. Yeah. So I see money that you start somewhere. I should go and take evidence. I should go and look for the owner.
No. But you should be able to know that certain person like this Ikoyi one.
No, you get it wrong. Okay. Whistleblowers are ordinary people.
Yeah.
Who, if I see money that you are starting somewhere like that, it's obvious that you are hiding something.
Yes, I should be able to describe who I saw.
Yes.
What I saw.
Yes.
And at what time I saw that person. And how he is, how regularly he or she comes to.
No. You may not know. You may not know that.
Would not have been moved to that place once.
If you see the money once, it's sufficient for you to go and blow whistle.
Okay. Is it the EFCC that is also reacting to the whistleblower policy in a very wrong way? For instance, when he got the information about the Koyi money, why was it impossible for the EFCC to keep a surveillance over the place for some time to be able to catch somebody right there on the spot?
Yes. That is the point.
And again, why was it necessary to make the media thing part of the break-in and all of that? Why was it necessary to bring in the media at that time?
Yes.
I've been told arguments on our Twitter handle yesterday that, the EFCC had no choice because in the past when it had made discoveries, some certain highly placed government officials, maybe playing politics of opposition, had tried to discredit the EFCC that is not true and all of that. Maybe that's why the EFCC had considered
Gbenga, it's a catch-22 situation. Yesterday, the public relations officer of the police mentioned that in the last few months, they have recovered over $200 million. No publicity. Apart from all of this, through the police anti-corruption, through the police anti-corruption unit, through these whistleblowers impact. But I think my response to that is that in anti-corruption campaign generally, publicity is necessary.
Yes.
So that people, that is the point. At one point, the point is that when the whistleblower has pointed the money to you, he has finished his work. Is the anti-corruption agencies, the investigative agencies that should work together. And I think that is one of the problems with the Nigerian security architecture, that there is the need for synergy and cooperation in order to be able to identify. And I think that the security agencies have the capacity to identify the true owners of all of these monies. Whether the authorities will have the courage to make that public and go after the true owners is a different ball game altogether. But publicity, especially in this country, where we are now, in terms of what is being done, is important. But at one point, do you do the publicity? What do you say? Because what you say and how you say it is more important.
Yeah. Once you say something, you may not be able to take it back.
Absolutely.
So if you stumble on facts that prove contrary to what you have said earlier.
Yes. So I think that going forward, the security agencies need to be more circumspect. They need to be more thorough. And they need to collaborate more in their organization so that you don't give a false start. You know, you don't give a false start. And there need to also be coordination among the agencies, because there were many people now are now wondering what is covert operations. But we know that governments all over the world, there are things that government do, which only government knows. Everywhere in the world, you know, government even protects everyone. You know, there are situations where, you know, key opposition leaders, the security agencies do everything to protect them. That is their work, not just a particular regime. And that's why there is secrecy in their operations. That's why there is secrecy in the way they do things. So, but we've seen that increasingly, and let me tell you one thing, because you were asking the question about how do people lose cases, all these things. Yeah. Don't forget that there's corruption in Nigeria. The fact that there is an anti-corruption fight does not mean that everybody involved, including those who are working in the anti-corruption agencies, are saints. If you look at many of the prosecutions that have failed, what is the reason? Lack of diligent prosecution. And investigation and prosecution. And listen, let's be real.
Isn't that likely to continue for a long while to come? Wouldn't that be a hindrance to the anti-corruption strategy? For instance, look at the DSS, look at the EFCC. Can these two agencies, given what has transpired at the highest level of these two agencies, given what has transpired in the last couple of months, do you see them working together to achieve a common purpose? Do you see them working together to solve a case?
It's possible.
How so?
You put a mechanism in place.
Well, I'm sure you know what I'm referring to.
I know what you are referring to. Yeah. But agencies are not just made by individuals. And it depends also the tone that is set at the top. If the president, assuming that you are DSS and I'm EFCC, or which one do you want to be?
I don't want to be. Just leave me to be what I am now.
You know, assuming you are DSS and I'm EFCC, the president calls me and says, look, Otive, I'm seeing what is happening. For the sake of this country, you need to work together if you want to keep your position. And he calls you. What do you think will happen? You work together. You know? Aside from that, what is working together? Working together is not necessarily that the two agency heads are friends. And that's the point we have always made in the security architecture. You put a mechanism in place. Joint meeting, joint planning, platform for sharing information. If you have information about criminal, you put in password. Or everyone has password to it that can share information. The moment you put it, things have gone far. So working together is not because I like you or you like me. No. You put a mechanism in place. That is the point we are making. We are running a 21st century with 19th century architecture. Why is corruption always continuing in Nigeria? If you even go to places like Ghana there, you want to pay before you enter airport. You don't need receipt. You pay electronically. Because you can print a different receipt and the whole receipt you will issue today will go into your pocket.
Yeah. The one of government will just be a one corner.
Yes. Or you can have two receipts there. You issue one to government, one to government, one to my pocket, one to government, one to my pocket. But when you make it electronic,
and everything goes
Do you know?
Which is why people are saying that all of these things are
Do you know,
happening
Benga?
again, because all monies have to be in account, and all accounts are known through the TSA, so BVN. And if you lodge a huge amount in your account,
Yes.
somebody is likely to blow with you. That's why all of these monies that cannot find their way
into the bank are developing
are
legs.
now finding their way
Yes.
to ridiculous places.
Do you know, Benga, that as you are now, you know you are very popular. Do you know you can go to the Abuja airport without paying?
I pay.
I know you pay. No, but assuming you can go say, hey, my brother, sorry, I just discovered, say,
my purse no day.
My purse no day here. I go say, Twale, Ogbagenga, move on. But if it is electronic, no story. No story. No story. If he want to help you, he will use his card to help you. So, innovation and technology can be used to fight corruption. And the point I'm making is that, look, we need to be comprehensive. Because one of the things we have not also done is that we've not done, that comes to the level of society, which I was talking about. Yeah. We have not done sufficient education. You know, in this country today, how do you call a government job in your language, Benga? What does it mean? Literally.
Government work.
No, literally. Because in my language...
A job that belongs to nobody.
Yes. In my language, it's just that you actually got white man's job. Iruro Igbo. In Igbo, it's Orwo Igbo. White man's job. So if you go to white man's job and steal money and bring it,
it's white man's money.
It's white man's money. So you are rewarded in your community. That mentality has continued. So there is need for people to know that if somebody is in a government position and he steals money, that is why
our money that is stealing.
It's our money. That is why your children, if they are sick, they have no hospital to go. That is why today nobody is talking about public water system. It's borehole. That is why today people cannot. Children don't go to private school. You know, Benga, is painful to some of us because some of us come from humble background, went to local education authority primary school, went to a grammar school, but today we go to conferences across the world with people from Harvard, and you will not know the difference.
All right.
But the political elite they have used that same ladder. I received bursary when I was in the university. But they have used that same ladder to climb up, and they have thrown away the ladder.
All right. I'm sure you agree with me that we can't finish discussing and analyzing the problem of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
In one edition of a program. We have reached the end of the discussion for today. Thank you. But it's been a very wonderful time with you.
It has always been my pleasure.
EFCC should cover their face in shame. They are saying the building does not have a landlord documents from Lagos State. That's a dozen Nkechi. Chinozo Bude says, what is difficult in telling Nigerians the occupant of the flat in Ikoyi or why the cover-up? And EFCC is not telling Nigerians the truth about the ownerless monies. It's not possible. That's Johnson Ibiang. So many tweets on our Twitter handle, but we can't read all. Thank you so much. I've had with me in the studio for the past 55 minutes or so Dr. Otive Igbuzor, who is Executive Director, African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, Center LSD. Dr. Igbuzor, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Benga. It's my pleasure.
All right. Thank you for investing your time with us. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Do enjoy the rest of the day and do stay out of trouble.